Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey there, Startup Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. And we are in the middle of our up close and personal mini series. And this is actually the second time we're doing this. So this is the second round. And today you guys voted for Maureen Werrbach. And actually before we hit record, it was funny. Maureen was sharing with us like how she doesn't usually share. And so she didn't share this with her people. And yet she still got voted. So you guys really want to hear from her. So this is going to be a little bit fun. And she's going to stretch herself a little bit, sharing a little bit about her. So before we get started, if you are joining us for the first time, we want to say welcome to the Startup Nation family. We're giving you a virtual hug, joining you, bringing you guys into our family. And if this is your first time, we have a gift for you. And that is our free paperwork course that goes over everything that you guys need to have in your consent. Like it or not, paperwork is here to stay. So with the free paperwork course, we give you our customizable attorney-approved HIPAA download form, and you can grab that at privatepracticestartup.com. Head on over to the resources tab, and there you will see it. So just a little bit about Maureen before we dive in. So Maureen Werrbach is an LCPC, is a multi-business entrepreneur in the mental health field. She owns Urban Wellness, a large counseling group practice in Chicago, the Group Practice Exchange, a business coaching firm, and co-owns Group Practice Builders, business focused conference for group practice owners. Her aim in life is helping the helpers. As a helping professional herself, she knows firsthand the focus healthcare providers put on making a positive impact in the world. She also knows that many healthcare professionals put business second to the boots on the ground, helping in the community. That's where she comes in. She helps healthcare owners learn how to successfully start and scale their businesses so that they can have a larger impact on their communities. And the cool thing is we haven't connected with Maureen for a while. And last time we connected with her, major blizzard snowstorm, and she was hiding in her closet because her kids were home for the day, and now she's sitting outside. It's beautiful. It's the summer, so we're really excited to dive in. So before we do that, let's just take a quick moment for our sponsors.
When it comes to keeping your practice organized, you want software that's not only simple but the best. We recommend Therapy Notes. Their platform lets you manage notes, claims, scheduling, and they have a new awesome telehealth platform for your online counseling sessions. They offer amazing unlimited phone support and email support, so when you have a question, they are there to help. To get started with the practice management software trusted by over 60,000 professionals, go to therapynotes.com and start a free trial today. Enter promo code PPS, as in Private Practice Startup, and they will give you 2 months to try for free. Go to therapynotes.com.
Tired of never quite feeling comfortable with your private practice financials? I'd like you to meet Green Oak Accounting. Their goal is to empower private practice owners with the financial information they need to make good business decisions. They specialize in working with solo and group private practices in the mental health industry, so they are uniquely positioned to help with figuring out what's normal in your business finances and what's not. So if you've ever had a conversation with your accountant or bookkeeper that left you wishing that they understood private practice or had some best practices to share, head over to greenoakaccounting.com and schedule a free consultation to see if they might be a good fit for you. They can help you with all your accounting needs, from bookkeeping to payroll to profit first and budgeting and forecasting. Head over to greenoakaccounting.com now.
Hey, Maureen, welcome back.
Hi, it's so nice to be here again.
It is nice to have you, and we appreciate you getting a little bit uncomfortable as we explore who you are, because people want to know.
I'm so uncomfortable, you guys.
We'll do our best to be gentle.
Please do.
So we really just love to start with a story of you. Like, where did you grow up? What was your family life like? Siblings, things like that. My favorite is, what kind of teen were you?
Oh, God, the worst. So I was born in Germany, and my dad was in the military and met my mom out there. So half of my family lives in Germany. And my dad's half lives here in Chicago. And we moved to Chicago when I was, I don't know, 5-ish. And fun fact, my parents, because my mom's German and my dad's American, they were like, when trying to decide my name, had said, you know, if we're planning on living the rest of our life in Germany, we'll give her an American name. And if they were planning on moving to the US, they'd give me a German name. So just to like, you know, have a little bit of my mom here or have a little bit of my dad over there. Obviously I was, have an American name or an Irish name. I was named after my dad's sister. But obviously the assumption was that we were going to be living in Germany. So fun fact, I'm always like, you know, when I was younger and didn't like my name, I'd be like, oh, I should have had the German name. I wasn't supposed to have an American name because we're living in the US.
Did they tell you what the German name was?
Yeah, Alexis. It sounds kind of American too, but it's a German name.
I was going to say. But Werrbach, I assume, is German.
Well, yeah. My husband is partially German, so it's his name.
I was thinking more so about like, I was thinking more about a maiden name.
I was like, you know, I got a little bit more of a, because my maiden last name is my dad's, which is American, so it's Herman. So when I married Steve, I was like, well, I got a little bit of German back in me now. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but we moved here, and my dad was having a hard time with like finding jobs out in Germany at the time. Germans didn't really love Americans, so he got out of the military, and then, you know, was painting houses and selling flowers outside and that kind of thing. And my mom could tell he was kind of miserable, so we moved here. And my mom started working for the German Airlines, Lufthansa, so she could fly home as often as she wanted to, up until like 5 years ago, which is when she did early retirement to work for me. And she's a practice manager at my group practice.
Oh, how cool.
How cool.
What is that like, having your mom work for you?
I couldn't have anyone that I trust more to manage like the financial part. So she started, you know, being in charge of billing, doing all the administrative stuff, minus answering the phones, because, you know, a German answering phones. Like a real German with a thick accent is kind of stern on the phone would not be the greatest. But so she didn't do the phones, but she did all the billing and managing the money and payroll and all that stuff. And, you know, I couldn't trust anyone more than I trust her. And now she manages a team of admins that does the billing, and she's the one that does payroll and everything around, you know, when any of my locations have issues and stuff, she's there to fix it. So I love it. I will say that I get annoyed with her more than normal because I feel like I'm around her a lot. So my mom sometimes is like, you haven't called in a while. And I'm like, I know if I call you, you're going to say something about work, and I'm just not in the mood to talk about work. So there is that balance too. But we both love it. I mean, she gets to travel around the world, which is something she likes doing, and she can work and get paid while she's doing that. So she loves that. And, you know, I get to have someone that I couldn't trust more, kind of in charge of the money, which is great.
Nice. And so what's interesting, like having your mom or a parent work for you, right? Like all your life, like there's a hierarchy, like parent-child, right? Even if you're an adult. And now it's like imbalanced a little bit. Has there been things that you've had to like be like, Mom, you can't do that, or don't? Yeah. What's that been like?
It's been fine. I think, you know, my parents, you know, neither of them went to college. I think they are I don't know, I've heard this from other, you know, immigrant parents and parents who maybe haven't gone to college. They really just want their kid to do better than them. So they're just always really proud. And so I'm not, you know, if she does something where I'm like, you can't, you know, be saying or doing that. It's usually something about saying something because, you know, her German side will come out and I'm like, it's not the American way to say that. She takes it well, and I'm not, you know, I'm not rough about it. So I'm just like, hey, your German side's coming out little, and she'll know right away what that means. So other than that, I mean, there's never been any, you know, things where I have to reprimand her or anything like that. So like, luckily she's like, you know, we kind of fit the German stereotype of being like really organized and on top of things. And so she's, you know, always doing 110%, just wanting, you know, the best for my practice. So it's really great.
Gotcha.
And what was it like when you moved to the States when you were 5 years old with your family?
I don't remember like being super young, what it was like. I don't remember the actual move, just because we've traveled a lot back and forth. So I felt like I was in the middle of both places for a while. But I'm an only child, which I don't love, or I didn't love. Now I could care less. But as a kid growing up, I am introverted. So, and I have a military dad and a German mom. So that, combination is very fun to have as a child. And so my mom, who had a hard time, I think, transitioning to American life. I mean, her whole thing has always been that, she's not American and she feels not American, and Americans are like, hi, how are you? And think, they're like, she always used to say, why does everyone ask how are you? Like, they don't care. They just say, fine, how are you? And she's like, in Germany, you don't ask that. You ask that to people you actually want to know, and you don't just say, fine. You talk about what is happening. So she's like, everyone's just like, hi, how are you? Good, how are you? Good. And she's like, this seems so fake. And she had a hard time adjusting, which made it hard for me, who was, an introverted, quiet kid who didn't have like the natural, I don't know if in this, I'll never have this experience, but I always saw parents who were friends and then their kids were friends. And I was like, if only you would have had like friendships, I think it would have been easier for me as a child growing up. And like, I moved several schools, so I had a hard time connecting with kids. And yeah, I always say, like, my mom and dad will both usually say, yeah, that's the one place we messed up. You would have done well having a sibling to, kind of communicate with and have fun with. So that's my childhood.
And how many kids do you have now?
2, because I'm never effing having one.
How do you really feel about that?
Yes. I literally, when I was dating my husband, I was like, so I'm not going to have 1 or 3. No odds. Someone will get left out. It's 2 or 4. 4 is too many, so it's 2. How is that? And he's like, well, I guess that's what we're
doing. Was that your first date? Like, you just laid it on the table as a non-negotiable?
Yeah. He knew me because we've been friends since grade school, since first grade. So yeah, he knew that kind of stuff to begin with. But yeah, so that was kind of the joke. He had no say in it.
That's funny. Tell us the story about you and your husband and how you guys ended up getting together, being that you knew each other for so long.
Oh, yeah. So I went to I went to one kindergarten. I went to a school in first, second, and third grade, which is where he was. And he was like my little boyfriend at the time. And then I moved and went to a school for 4th and 5th, went to a school for 6th, 7th, and 8th. So clearly, like, introverted person who has a hard time making friends, that all makes it worse when you never get to like stay in one place for a long time. I didn't see him again. Like I saw him maybe in 4th grade at like a carnival, because I went back to that school, to see some of my friends that I hadn't been able to see. But after like 4th grade, I didn't see him until college. I think I was 21. Let's just say I was 21. Because I was at a bar. We're going to say
you might be underage, but we're going to say you're 21?
I'm going to say, let's just say we're 21. Yeah. And he was, the neighborhood I'm in, which is this neighborhood, we moved to this neighborhood essentially after I left the school that my husband and I were at. So we live in Chicago. Chicago is very big. The neighborhood that I was at, I moved out of to kind of go to 4th grade on in this neighborhood. So you don't like go to different neighborhoods. I don't know. At least our neighborhood didn't. We went to the bars in our neighborhood. We went to the restaurants in our neighborhood, but we never really ventured out. And so there's this one bar that's still there that we would go to every weekend. And I saw him and I looked at him and he looked at me, and I walked up to him. And I was like, Steve? And he's like, Maureen? Neither of us had seen each other since like 3rd grade, end of 3rd grade, or beginning of 4th grade, and both recognized each other. And he broke up with his girlfriend that night, and we started dating and got engaged a year later, got married a year later, and together 15 years, married together 16 years, married 14 years.
Wow. And the rest was history.
So yeah. yeah, that's how we met. But I was like, what are the odds? Because he was still living in the neighborhood that I grew up in, which like there's no reason for him to have been at the bar. And he just so happened to be there because his friend, 21. It was 21. His friend was turning 21. It was his birthday, and he chose that bar, weirdly enough. So I just want to say the introverted self literally went up to a guy, which is not normal for me because I was the one that went up to him. It was like, hi. And he was like, hello. Yeah.
I love it. What a great story. And, for those of you guys who are listening, you guys might be hearing some birds in the background, maybe some wind. I was hearing some like landscaping. So Maureen's outside because we're still recording during the time of COVID. So most people are still home with their kids and everything going on. She was just sharing that her husband's downstairs teaching. The kids are in school. So she's outside. So if you guys hear random things happening, that's just what's happening. I just thought I would share that with you.
It would have been way worse.
No apologies at all. No apologies at all. It's just sometimes I know that people kind of are wondering, so I just thought I would.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I heard a bird chirping a minute ago, and I didn't even think anything of it because I'm just enjoying the view of looking at the ivy crawling up the brick wall. I know people on the podcast can't really see it, but yeah, you look like you have a nice little spot outside.
Yeah, thank you.
And I love how you say they can't really see it. No, they can't see it at all. Before we continue, let's take our second sponsor break.
If you're looking for a new source of income or wanting to supplement your current work, BetterHelp.com is a great option. BetterHelp allows you the flexibility to choose your caseload size and schedule clients at your convenience. Every day, thousands of people seek the help of licensed therapists at BetterHelp. If you're a licensed therapist or psychologist, BetterHelp is the easiest way to apply your clinical expertise online. With BetterHelp, you can focus 100% of your time on counseling. No need to deal with finding referrals, business operations, managing insurance, or billing. They handle it all. Visit betterhelp.com/PPS, as in private practice startup, to complete a brief application and get started today. That's betterhelp.com/PPS.
Maureen, I'm curious, what is one thing about Steve that drives you bonkers?
One thing. One thing. Okay. He loves scary things. He's into like horror stuff. And I am afraid of everything. So, ever since we like met, he's into Halloween. He's a Halloween baby. He was born in October. And our house has a lot of scary things. I mean, now it's all collected into the basement, but he has essentially a museum of scary stuff. And I'm always like, I thought you were going to grow out of this. And he was like, I don't know what made you think I was going to grow out of this. But yeah, I have a husband who loves scary things, which is not very fun when he likes to jump up behind you and like scare you and do shit. I hate that. It happened a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm so mad at you right now. Like, why do you do? And he's like, it's just, I feel so good when I get scared. He's always like, ooh, you got me so good. And I'm like, I do not feel that way. No. I feel like I want to jab you in the eyeball when you do it.
Yeah, my son did that to me the other day. He snuck up to show, just to like, I'm working on the computer, and he snuck up behind my chair, and I didn't know he was there. And I screamed bloody murder. And I felt so bad because I got like angry. I was like, why would you do that? It like really scared me. And then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I reacted so strongly, but you really scared me. I hate that feeling.
Oh, that's by the way, if you think that is someone mowing lawns, it's actually the guy that's working on our bathroom.
Oh, okay. So it's a saw then.
It is. It's in my house, so that would be even louder. It's upstairs on the second floor in the bathroom. They're like doing plumbing up there, so there's no way I'm getting it.
What's something that Steve would say drives him crazy about you?
My cleanliness, I think, or my work. I work a lot. I'll say it's a tie between both. I am constantly picking up after the kids and after him, so our house doesn't look like anyone lives in it, because I'm like clean house, clean mind kind of person, and so I've gotten in trouble more than a few times for putting things away, air quotes I'm doing right now, and then not knowing where I put it, and it's their stuff, and then he'll be like, where's my X, Y, or Z? And I'm like, shit, I know it was sitting out for a while, so I put it away. What is a good place? I did this once with my wedding ring, and for 3 or so years, I didn't have a wedding ring because I put it somewhere where I thought I'd remember, and I didn't. So you'd probably.
Where did you find it?
I don't even know. I mean, randomly after a couple of years, I found it. I don't know, in my bedroom. I don't even know. I mean, at that point, we had both thought that I just lost it. But I was like, I know it's in such a safe place that it's just that hidden. It's definitely not thrown out, but it's that or it's work, because because I have a couple of different businesses, I am always on my phone. Oh, technology, that's probably it. Because I'm on my phone a lot, answering emails or, Facebook groups, as you guys know, managing that, you're on there a lot. So
tell us a little bit about what a typical work week looks like for you, schedule-wise, and how much time you're spending in each business. Obviously, we're in COVID life right now, so everything's a little bit off, but typically, what is it like?
In the group practice, I spend the least amount of time because I've done the best delegating in that one. So I probably don't spend more than a few hours a week on the group practice. Non-COVID time, I do my other work, so the conference stuff and the group practice exchange stuff from my group practice so that I'm present. So it can sometimes feel like I'm doing my group practice work, but I'm not. I'm just there to do all my businesses stuff. But I'll probably say like a handful of hours for the group practice. And those handful of hours is really just communicating with my leadership team, doing visionary work, making decisions on expansion and that kind of stuff, and things that go around there. I'll say I'll do a little bit more work when I'm actually expanding because I like the decorating and all of that part. So if I'm expanding, which I'm in the process of right now with one of my locations, I'll be doing a little bit more work just because I'm, buying furniture and doing the fun stuff that I like doing for that. With the conference, it's our second year. So I think we're getting into a groove with knowing, during what months we should be doing what. So that one kind of ebbs and flows where there's, a few weeks span where I'm not doing anything. And then, a few weeks span where I'm doing a lot more. So there's not really much organization around that. I'll probably say on average, a couple of hours a week. I'll say that. Even though closer to the conference time, I'll spend 10 hours or, 12 hours in the week. But like I said, there's some weeks where I spend none. And then the group practice exchange takes up the bulk of my time. And that's the one where I think I'm the most disorganized because there's just so much I can do. And I get into this place of like, do the podcast, do the blog, do the memberships, do stuff in the membership site, make sure I'm checking the Facebook groups, make sure I'm, doing this and that. So, that being said, I probably spend, 20 hours on that. But I recently brought on a CMO, a chief marketing officer, who's going to be taking over, like essentially being the shield between all of my VAs and people that do the different parts of that business. She'll be the shield between them and myself so she can make a lot of those decisions so I can actually just do the parts that are important, that need me, which I'm really excited about. So I'm envisioning a handful of hours going down on that. But I am guilty of the random, I mentioned one thing my husband is annoyed with me by is organization and like cleanliness. And it includes my phone. Right now someone came to my front door. That's Nest giving me a notification. Notifications on my phone bother me. And so I have this impulse to check it and just take away the check boxes or the numbers by the mailbox on my phone. So I tend to be guilty of a lot of like mindless stuff where I'm just checking the phone to make sure that I can just get rid of things, get rid of emails. And that's something I'm working on right now.
Kate and I can so relate. We're both sitting here shaking our head like, yes, it's like, gotta go, get it out. Just, I don't want it there anymore.
Yeah.
That's so funny how you talk about that, like with your husband. Like I am so guilty as charged of throwing stuff away or donating it because I was like, I can't have it in the house anymore. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. I always say I'm so good at being Marie Kondo because in my house and with my clothes and with I can look at, I'm not, and this is something that him and I have talked about, is I'm not emotionally attached to pretty much anything except my kids and my husband. Even gifts that I get from people, if I'm not using it, I'm like, okay, it's done. So he's like, this was the shirt that you wore on our first date. And I was like, really? I don't wear it though. I'm like, I'm throwing it out. So I tend to be I have exactly the things that I need. And, not that I'm not a person that doesn't buy things, because I do buy things, but when I buy something, I'm like, what can I get rid of to replace, so that I feel like I'm not adding to the clutter.
I so feel you right there. I like, people do like house cleaning maybe once a year, or like, really getting rid of stuff. It's a joy for me. Like, I'm like you, like, clear mind, clear house, clear space. Like, It just feels so good. Yeah. I'm curious, Maureen, what prompted you, or was there any experience or situation that had you get into this field?
Really nothing dramatic. But like I said, I didn't have the greatest time growing up in terms of connecting with peers. And so I just remember thinking, one, my parents never brought me to a therapist, which was probably the worst idea on their end. I just remember thinking, like, I want to be someone that is there for kids so that they have someone to talk to when they're experiencing this, because I thought it was the worst thing in the world at the time. And so I was just like, I'm going to be a person that can talk to other kids and help them feel like wanted and needed and important, which interestingly enough, I don't work with kids. I started that way and then evolved to like, I like having intellectual conversations. And so it ended with working with adults and entrepreneurs. But that's how it started, was I really wanted to be able to be a safe space for kids and teens that were not feeling like they were connecting with other peers and being bullied or made fun of.
Nice. And when you first started out, did you have a vision of having a group practice or anything like what you have today?
No. No. Again, it doesn't connect with my personality style to have something like this. So it's been something that's pushed me outside of my comfort zones in a lot of ways. Because I was just watching, I don't know if you guys watch Dead to Me with Christina Applegate. Do you know that show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I finished the second season.
That was the first thing I've ever Netflix binged on. Yeah. I haven't watched the second season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the, not Christina Applegate, but the other one, a couple days ago, my husband and I were watching it, and she was, she does painting. She's a painter, and then she sells her paintings for, lots of money. And I sat there being like, that is such part, like I'm not a painter, by the way, but the idea of being by myself, doing my work, getting creative, and then giving it to someone and being like, okay, you deal with the people. Now you sell it, and then you can give me the money. And I remember thinking like that fits with my personality, is like really just being on my own, doing my own thing, getting to be creative. And so it's funny that I, went into pretty much the opposite, which is being, I have, I think around 40 something employees now. So I'm around a lot of people and managing lots of people and leading. But it's been a great experience to grow like the uncomfortable parts of me. What's
been the hardest? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, what's been the hardest part about navigating that with having so many employees and having to navigate some of the uncomfortableness?
The hardest part was really the communication piece. I'm a people pleaser. I think because of my childhood and just wanting people to like me and being like, why am I not liked? What is it about me? That can sometimes, not anymore, but for a long time that was bleeding into just me, bending over backwards and making it the best place in the world to work. And, it took a lot of work to be able to have difficult conversations where I could say, I know that I'm providing something really awesome here. And if it's not the best for you, or if you want more, or if then you need to be able to look elsewhere. That was a hard place to get to as a leader, but also as a person who just doesn't love conflict, like at all. Yeah. But it's been, my husband's like, you're Maureen 2.0, he always says, because he thinks that the group practice really shifted things. Here he comes walking by now, and he made a face at me because he heard me say his name. But I feel like it's definitely made me a better person.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of similarities between what you're talking about and what I experienced in my own journey. Yeah. So it's cool to hear that about you.
Yeah. Well, That's interesting to hear that about you as well, then. I always
So
feel
if
like,
you,
go ahead, Katie.
if you weren't doing this, Maureen, what would you be doing?
I have no idea. I used to, when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer, like a defense lawyer, because I felt
so funny. We just had Amanda Patterson on the podcast. She referenced you about like coaching and consulting, and also her journey. She wanted to be an attorney as well, defense lawyer.
Oh, that's weird.
Or did she say criminal? Maybe I don't remember. But go ahead. Share.
Criminal.
Yeah. So that was it when I was younger. I don't know now. Like if I didn't do this, I think I'd be a book writer. I'm writing a book right now, but not that that's going to be my professional, like only job, but that probably would be, what I do if I didn't do this. Write books,
Cool.
Be somewhere nice. Again, as you guys are getting to know, and anyone listening is getting to know, I clearly like to be by myself. So like, what kind of things can I do where I can experience, the outside and have a nice view and get fresh air, and also do something, bigger than me that maybe doesn't require a lot of people to be around.
What is your book about?
Leadership. Yeah, I'm in the beginning-ish stages. I actually started with a group practice building one, and then I paused that one I was writing for years, and then I paused that and was like, I might get to that at some point, but I feel like I have so much content already on that I was like, I really want to focus on the leadership part, because I feel like that's what's usually missing, is the technical things are there, how to recruit, how to interview, how to make a decision on what space to have, like those things. I've talked so much about, but I feel like leadership is a harder concept to really grasp. There's not like a step-by-step process. So this one's where I'm going with it is it's a journey of merging, successful leaders like out in the world, real people, to concepts of leadership to kind of give a story behind different leadership concepts that I'll be bringing up. It's my thought. We'll see.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I really loved Brené Brown Daring Greatly. Was that her leadership book? Wait a minute. No, what was her leadership book? Thank you. I'm like, that's not the right one. I really enjoyed that. I love Brené Brown anyway.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, very cool. It's so interesting, like how, like you just kind of share yourself, like really as an introvert, and that this would never be the way that you would go. And here you are, and now you're getting a leadership book, which is really awesome and amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's been an interesting journey. That's for sure.
So when you sometimes put down the work, because I know you're always with your phone and everything else, and you guys maybe venture out or go on vacation, where do you like to de-stress, get away to?
I like to travel outside the U.S. So each year, my husband and I pick one place that we go for a week or two. So I don't have a favorite place yet, because I keep going to a new place. We were supposed to go to Bali in like 2 weeks from now. Obviously, that's not happening, and I still have to cancel my tickets to that. So I was really looking forward to that, because I feel like that was going to be the forced mindfulness. I'm horrible at mindfulness. I'm not a mindful person. I'm a get stuff done type of person. And so I was like, we're going to zen out and relax and be mindful of our where we're at. And then of course, COVID threw a wrench in that. But yeah, I have to say, out of all the places I've been so far, Scotland has felt the most like where I could let work go. A lot of places that other places that I've gone, being born in a different country, my parents have instilled traveling to different countries since I was young. But yeah, I have to say that Scotland is probably the one place so far where I felt like it was a different world, and I was able to be like, work is going to survive without me. I don't need to pay attention to it. So I'll say that.
What's something, Maureen, that people most probably don't know about you?
Oh, geez. That's a question that you needed to have prepped me with. Something that most people don't know about me is I don't know. I'm not that exciting of a person. I'm pretty boring. So there's nothing like, wow, other than I was born in Germany. Like that is usually my go-to is like, this is the exciting thing about me. Oh God.
Well, how about this? Well, I'll ask this question because this was asked to Kate and I, and of course I kept thinking about later on. What's your secret obsession?
Don't judge. It's the Real Housewives. It's so not me. I am a leggings and t-shirt and hair braided, like no makeup person. It does not fit with me. That I would like the Real Housewives of any of them. But it's one of those, I can have like a mini retreat in my head when I'm watching that. I also am not thinking about work. But I'm also slightly embarrassed to say it.
It's hysterical because no, it's okay. I binge on watching them too. I don't have a lot of time to binge on watching them, but it's like an escape from reality for some reason. It's so out there and so ridiculous. And I'm like majorly conflict avoidant, and there's so much conflict. It's just entertaining. My husband can't be in the room for 10 seconds when I'm watching that, but I'm like, listen, this is my me time. This is my time to decompress with something ridiculous. Don't judge. So yeah, I get it. But most people are like, you what?
Yeah.
Really?
I know. They're always like, I assumed you'd be watching something a little more educational. You seem like a person that would do, not be watching that. You'd be watching documentaries or something else. I'm like, well, I watch those as well. But my guilty pleasure is Real Housewives, any of those reality type things.
Trash TV.
Trash TV.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, mine is 90 Day Fiance, and I was like embarrassed to share that because I don't ever watch anything every week. I don't watch series. I don't watch sitcoms. They bore me. I feel even sometimes like stuff like on Netflix. It's like we used to watch Empire, and it was like, okay, how many people can date each other and have each other's babies, and then all this other drama? Like it's just not possible. So it's like not even real. But yes, like we were literally out to dinner on Sunday night, and I like looked at my other half. It's like, babe, 90 Day Fiance is on in 40 minutes. I was like, did I just say that? Like, this is ridiculous.
That's so funny.
Like, I gotta go watch it.
So many people say that about that show. I've never watched an episode of it, but so many people are watching that show. So maybe I have to, I don't know if I'm putting myself into a wormhole by even starting it, but
That's my secret reality binge. Did you?
I saw it as an option last night. I got the kids in bed, and I was going to watch like one show before I was going to go to bed. And I saw that as an option, but I had something else that I was going to watch. It was like Ladies of London. Because I ran out of Housewives. I'm like, okay, let's travel and watch reality TV in different places. But yeah, Katie, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So why don't we move on to our lightning round where we kind of give you some rapid fire quick questions.
This is making me so nervous. This is the part that I'm not looking forward to. Just for all of you guys listening.
They're kind of easy and fun.
Okay.
So okay. Nothing. Yeah, it's not long, big drawn out one. So it's interesting because as people vote, they usually vote for 5 people, and there's some specific questions that kind of pop up when we pull the questions for your name. So I'm going to guess this one might be for you, or maybe this is just like a random question. So someone says bubbles or no bubbles in a bath. Are you a bath person?
No.
No. Okay.
I'll say bubbles. If I had to choose, I like to be covered up. That's my fast thinking without paying too much attention is yes, bubbles, but I'd prefer to just shower.
What is your superpower?
Shoot. I don't know. I guess it's something with starting business. I feel like I'm really good at coming up with an idea and getting it to work. However you want to name that. I don't know what kind of superpower that is, but I feel like that's my strong area is nice. Bringing an idea to life.
A favorite adult beverage? And why?
Okay. So I feel like this is a long answer. I've always been a white wine person. And my mom would always joke how as a kid, you obviously don't drink coffee. I've never liked coffee. And she always would say, when you become an adult, you'll like coffee. And it tastes really gross. I remember my mom and I would joke how I haven't become an adult yet because there's going to be a point where you go from not liking it to liking it. And same with red wine. My mom would be like, that's just, you graduate to it. There's a point where red wine you're now a full adult. And it wasn't until, it's been white wine until not even the past year I tried like a Pinot Noir, like the lightest red wine. And I like it. So now I don't drink white wine anymore. And I feel like I've graduated and become an adult. That being said, the past, like since COVID, I'll say, Moscow Mules, my husband put together, he was like, let's get, because red, when it's warm is not, I don't know, red wine doesn't mix with warm weather, I guess. And so he was like, let's get something refreshing with some lime and all that. So I've been having those. And so I'll say that's my new favorite is Moscow Mules.
Cool. Does sound refreshing.
Yeah.
What's one of your most embarrassing professional moments?
Professional. I don't even know. That's a hard one. Embarrassed. I mean, I feel embarrassed all the time. I don't think I'm one of those people that's like, oh, I said too much, and oh, I did this too much, or oh, I forgot to say this. So I'm perpetually embarrassed by myself. I don't know. I'll just say everything, and also nothing is so. I've never done anything so bad where I like should be embarrassed, but I probably have a little bit of chronic anxiety / what did you do? The vulnerability hangover. So, but nothing particular stands out.
What was it like to meet Mike Michalowicz in person?
Good, obviously. He's funny. He's charismatic. He's like the opposite of me. So, which is something interesting about me is if I have someone who is like that, it can bring that out in me a little bit. So yeah, it was really fun. I think because I had met him on video a bunch of times, it felt less like new and exciting. I mean, it was exciting in its own right, but it didn't feel as scary as I thought it was going to be just because I had met with him a few other times. So yeah, it was fun. He's a genius. I really love everything he has to give, as you guys know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny you say that too, because it's like in the Practice Builders community, when we finally like meet you guys in real person, it's like, oh, that's right, we haven't met yet. And like real person in real life, whatever. Yeah. In person. That's what I meant.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That's right. I was going to say, I didn't realize, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, go ahead.
It just made me realize that we haven't met literally in person, but it feels like I don't know. It just seems like I would have by now because I have seen you guys, this way.
I know. Yeah. It can feel like we've met and you get to know each other virtually, and it's like, you feel like you know the person, and then you see them in person. And it's like, wait a minute, we really don't. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, and Katie, if you want to ask one more, and then we'll start to wrap it up. What inspires you most?
What inspires me the most is, I mean, I'm thinking professionally now. But like seeing people, I think for me, I always felt like I wasn't going to be much of anything, and so I get really excited and inspired and happy and like heartwarmed when other people who feel like this is, owning a business or writing a book or doing something exciting. Now a plane is passing over. That when they're able to do that, it just makes me feel really good about, I don't know, the fact that it just reminds me of a place that I was at before. So I'll say that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So final question, what's one thing that you guys have done during quarantine that's just not part of your like everyday life? We did this a little bit. We haven't done anything that we don't normally ever do, but it's definitely heightened. I go for a walk twice a day, once in the morning, and I walk to the local Starbucks and grab my drink. And then once in the afternoon, and the kids either come both times or the afternoon time. Sometimes they wake up late in the morning and they have to get ready for their online school stuff. But taking walks has been, I feel like, the thing that I've learned is really helpful for my mental health. And if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't be doing it because I'd be getting to work right away and sitting in an office and working till I have to pick up the kids and then, the whole normal run around. So I feel like walks is the biggest shift that we've had. And literally we go at least twice a day. So it's interesting that you referenced Starbucks, because I remember when we first had you on the podcast, you were so snowed in, you were like hoping there was a Starbucks fairy, and now you share you don't drink coffee. So I'm just curious as to what is your drink at Starbucks?
It's a Frappuccino. it's like the heaviest thing that you can get there. I get a mocha frappuccino with 1 pump of hazelnut.
Gotcha.
And in the winter, it's just a hot mocha with 1 pump of peppermint. But it's essentially the same thing. Just summer gets the hazelnut and it's cold, and winter gets the warm and with peppermint.
Awesome. Well, Maureen, thank you so much for being a good sport and really allowing us to get up close and personal with you, and even sharing in your own discomfort and just kind of exploring you. We really appreciate it. And we know that our collective communities will appreciate it too, just to kind of, get to know a little bit more about Maureen Werrbach. So we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you check out all of the practice builders and coaches we interviewed during this Up Close and Personal and our previous Up Close and Personal as well. Startup Nation, we love you. We hope you're doing well. Stay safe, be well, and most importantly, stay inspired. Take care, everybody.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.